please.
Alderperson Evans?
Present.
Hurt?
Here.
Barnes?
Here.
Swanson? Here. Parker?
Here.
Poulos?
Here.
Healy?
Here.
And Mayor Harris.
Present. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, then remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Agenda item 5.
Vote to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker?
Aye.
Poulos? Aye. Healy?
Aye.
Evans?
Yes.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
And Swanson.
Aye.
Agenda item 6.
A Clean River Advisory Council Community Survey Presentation.
Thank you, Jerry. All right. Did everybody get what do I need to repeat? Sorry. Okay. Start? Okay, thank you. That's a good way to start. So again, my name is Andy Parr, a member of the Clean River Advisory Council for the past few years. We're a diverse group of Quad City environmental experts, enthusiasts, community advocates, and we're committed to basically 3 things: clean water, equity, and environmental inclusion. Our mission is shaped by the Mississippi River Equity Vision, and our goal is a future rooted in shared equity. So the survey that you have in front of you was conducted last July through December. The Clean River Advisory Council showed up at any event we could, trunk or treats, and any event we could, and our goal was to collect 500 responses, and we got 465, so we were pretty happy with that. And the survey itself was designed to understand neighborhood level experiences, how people connect to the river, and their perceptions of nature-based solutions. So I'm just, like I said, briefly going to go through the first half of this slide, and Nina will take over. But the first question that we asked these residents of the Quad Cities, how connected do you feel to the Mississippi River? We were glad to see that 65% of respondents said they felt a very strong or even strong connection to the Mississippi River. And depending on if you're a glass half empty or a glass half full kind of person, 52% of respondents said they have a personal or family memory tied to the river. I myself have many of those, and it's kind of nice to see half the population in the Quad Cities do feel a connection to that river. In what ways do you connect to the Mississippi River? The number one answer wasn't a big surprise to me. We have a fantastic network of paths and parks along our river. So sports, jogging, biking, barbecue games. One of the things that I liked, the answer was that a lot of folks, 236 of them, said that they have a responsibility themselves for protecting the river. No matter what their job, their profession, their age, their race, they felt an obligation to protect that amenity that we have in our backyard. A quarter of the respondents also said they have a spiritual meaning. They find spiritual meaning near that river, and I thought that was very great as well. Some of the other open-ended responses that were captured is the river, I'll get to the drinking water aspect, but I enjoyed that they said recognizing the river's presence in daily life. So not simply seeing it every day, which I do, but recognizing it. Recognizing its presence in our lives every day is fantastic. And prioritizing the river's well-being also aligns with the Clean River Advisory Council's goals. So that was great too. The next question was, what prevents you from fully connecting with the river? I don't have enough free time was by far the biggest answer, and that's something I can certainly identify with. I don't know what community events occur at that river was the second answer, and I know there are a lot of organizations and a lot of outlets that try to promote river activities, but it just seems like no matter who you ask, there still seems to be a lack of awareness about all the events that are happening, no matter how hard you try. The concerns that they have about the river's environment and conditions, trash and litter exceeded all other answers. The Clean River Advisory Council puts on a couple cleanup events. We've done a few since our start a few years ago. That's something that I see in my profession as a public servant. It's certainly the biggest challenge that I face with my staff. The lack of safe water quality is kind of interesting. I find that that's probably a big educational component. A lot of folks see the river today and think of how dirty it is. I myself think of how dirty it was 50 years ago. Now we have a lot of rules and regulations put in place that keep that river that much cleaner for us today. So we're still ahead of the game on that. Potential flooding is always going to be a concern from our residents as well, but we've done what we can to kind of mitigate those circumstances, whether it's Rock Island, Moline, East Moline, Davenport, Bettendorf. We all have our measures in place to protect people from that. But my last slide tonight is how important do you think that it is that nearby cities and local governments work together to address problems and concerns related to the Mississippi River? And that's ideally why we're here tonight. We just wanted to bring this survey forward and just let you know that a lot of people are very observant about how communities and different communities' governments interact with each other, how their policies are shaping, whether it's green infrastructure, flood mitigation, environmental cleanups or something. But 95%, this slide is a little confusing, but 95% of all respondents said it is at least important or extremely important for residents to, for governments, local governments to work together as one entity in this region to try and protect this river. So hope to get that from you. So thank you.
I get the rest of it. So I actually really like to share these next couple of slides because what is really interesting in this survey was we got to ask the community what they thought were the most important nature-based solutions, not only just for the cities, their cities as a whole, but also the neighborhoods that they call home. And so we provided them with a couple of different examples of nature-based solutions that would be beneficial to our area, like planting trees along the Mississippi River, restoring wetlands near the cities, building rain gardens, protecting places that flood naturally, and then making green walking or biking paths. And so respondents were able to then rate what they felt were most important to them. And so this first slide, you'll see a graph similar to this twice on the next slide that shows a breakdown based by those priority neighborhoods. So CRAC focuses our efforts in priority neighborhoods within the Quad Cities that are typically more under-divested or might have a greater need. And when we look at these specific neighborhoods, asking those community members what they believe to be the most important, you can see how those are ranked based off of the different areas in the Quad Cities. And so when we're specifically looking here in Rock Island, our priority neighborhood has been identified as the West End. And respondents thought that planting trees along the Mississippi River are the biggest priority, followed by restoring wetlands near the city, and then third, building rain gardens. Additionally, we did also leave the opportunity for some open-ended responses and asked if there were other important priorities within those neighborhoods. And again, there were other various forms of nature-based solutions that came up, whether it was in the form of stormwater management, native plants, and also wetlands again. But also that public safety and that cleanliness continues to come up as well, really seeing the trash or even feeling that there's a lack of being able to safely access the river. Also access to green spaces as well as equitable infrastructure investment is really important, and then protecting policy that also upholds our water quality. This next slide is going to show you what looks like a similar graph to the other one I just shown you, but this one is this one asked our community members what they hope to see in each of our cities in terms of priorities for nature-based solutions. So slightly different than just the neighborhood that they're calling home. And you can see that there is a little bit of a difference. When we're looking here, especially in Rock Island, we're seeing that restoring wetlands takes the #1 spot, followed by planting trees along the Mississippi River, and then the third, protecting places that flood naturally. And I also just want to take a moment to call out that it's important to also look at the things that the cities are doing in a positive light. You know, we know the city of Rock Island is protecting wetlands through the Land and Water Reserve designation. We know that they are working to plant trees along the Mississippi River. There's some really great partnerships that also involve CRAC in those initiatives. And then protecting places that flood naturally is something that I think continues to be on the radar too, and can continue to be, as well as it is a priority for those community members. Additionally, some other desired changes was it pertains to the cities, and those open-ended spaces included, cleaner waterways, again, safety in terms of access and public spaces continues to come up, as well as native plants, habitat restoration, and then of course just greater visibility of sustainability efforts at the municipal level. In terms of community priorities and those hopes for change, really community members want to see more community river cleanup activities to help support that stewardship and visible progress too, to really see that there is some investment. The restoration of native plants and habitats, protected public access points to the river fronts in various places, and then continuing to ensure that there are educational opportunities for our youth to really build that lasting environmental connection and stewardship. Finally, one of our last questions was just looking at the neighborhood and city of residence. And so just for your reference, the highest number of responses that we had from the community members, so that's 10% or greater, were collected from those who live in the west end of Rock Island, in Bettendorf, and the Floreciente neighborhood in the city of Moline. And then you can also see where we had the lowest responses there. In terms of next steps, because we do like to ensure that we're utilizing the data that we collect to figure out where to go next. And so we had almost 40% of our respondents say that they wanted to stay connected in the future. And so we are taking those next steps to reach out to those respondents and get them involved in community focus groups by city neighborhood. So not one giant focus group together, but really trying to focus on those priority neighborhoods in those and find out, what types, really dig deeper into those nature-based solutions and figure out how we can work together. Additionally, we have a subcommittee in CRAC that is hoping to also engage and work with those at the city, municipality levels too, to kind of bridge that gap and see how we can continue to bring this data to light in our communities. And so we really find this to be a real strong potential for that community-driven collaboration and that sustained participation too. And I also just like to flag this as, we've focused on the community and especially the city level tonight too, but we do also have that broader regional component as well. We have a newer Quad Cities Ecological Corridor map or network that is really looking to see how we can connect a lot of these different areas and especially look at that shared regional framework, connecting natural spaces, identifying opportunities for conservation and restoration where it matters most, especially when it comes to flood reduction and resiliency. And so in conclusion, if any of you are interested in learning more, I know we are planning to follow up with an email with the resources in terms of being connected with the Ecological Corridor Network and CRAC as well, but we also have our information available to you in the slide deck as well. Any questions? Yes.
Just have a couple. So how is the survey put out? I mean, 465, I never received one. How is the survey distributed to the public? And my second question, is there a breakdown of those respondents by city?
Yes, I believe we do have the breakdown by city, and I can ensure that we get that answer 100%. In terms of how we, and feel free to add in terms of how we distributed the surveys, that was really, a lot of our efforts were really focused on those priority neighborhoods. And so the Clean River Advisory Council is a collection of people and organizations who are within the environmental scope, but also are considered environmental enthusiasts who work within a lot of times those different spaces. And so we showed up at community events, we showed up at, things like trunk or treats, trying to think, farmers markets. We provided the surveys out through email blasts, text messages,
The YMCA event.
We did some PSAs, some community PSAs as well. It was really a lot of that networked space, but also trying to do it from the networking space, but also from that community base too. So it wasn't perfect, for sure. I mean, obviously we hit the larger goal that we would like, and we are planning to launch another survey within this next year too. So would welcome any additional feedback in terms of if you have ideas of how to get the word out even further. But we were pretty happy with the goal we at least got initially in terms of hitting those priority neighborhood communities.
Again,
Making sure, I'm sorry, but making sure elected officials are on that might be a great idea for the future.
you know, we may be able to do something on the city website as pertains to the city of Rock Island. So I
Yeah.
was just curious to how many of these people, because I mean, as we're ranking those things that we call important in whatever order that is, I'm just kind of curious on what kind of response the city of Rock Island citizens participated in that to formulate that priority list.
Are you looking, so are you asking for a specific breakdown of the City of Rock Island respondents?
Yeah,
In
basically, I'd
particular?
like to see where our citizens, I mean, obviously it'd be interesting to see where they all lie, but I think as far as we're concerned, I'd like to see where the city of Rock Island prioritized the actions on here. And I do appreciate your efforts, so don't get me wrong, I'm just kind of
Sure.
curious to see what those numbers are.
For like, sure, for the other questions, it sounds like, other than just the neighborhood and the cities.
Yes.
Sure, yeah,
Thank
we
you.
can connect with that and be able to provide a response for that.
All right, thank you.
I have a quick question. How are wetlands restored?
No, you were breathing in. Not very well, it's very challenging.
Yeah.
Wetlands take many, hundreds of years to establish, if not more. So to restore them, it's nearly impossible. I mean, you can see from that one slide, it looked like Iowa wanted all their wetlands back restored, and Rock Island especially wanted to protect what they had. It's very challenging. That's all I've never, I won't, in my lifetime, I won't see a success. We even had one in Rock Island, we call them a mitigated wetland site. And it turned out to be a prairie. Because we tried to put a wetland where there shouldn't have been one, or there wasn't one originally. It didn't come out very well. So there's really no substitute for just nature making its own wetland.
So,
tough.
yeah, and so I'll just add to that from the wetlands perspective for right now, with the restoring being challenging, one thing that we can kind of help focus community members who are interested in wetland protection is understanding what resources are available here in the Quad Cities. In terms of being able to access wetlands, but also understanding how that protection does occur for current wetlands that exist. Federal protection is pretty much being completely removed, and so being able to advocate at a state level, and then even being able to advocate at city levels too, if it's possible, and being able to have those conversations and engagement can be another way to create that protection, at least for wetlands, if restoring isn't an option.
And I have one more. As far as educational purposes and collaboration, have you guys partnered with any schools, any area schools?
Yeah, so that's, we could do a whole other presentation just on our work. And so there's some really great information and data in our annual report that's available on our website that outlines all of the different partnerships that we've done. But that is probably one of the biggest areas we've been most successful in, is engaging in the schools, because we do have several members who are on the council who either are connected directly or have those relationships fostered.
Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCA,
Yep.
we have members that are connected. We show up at those events as well.
Last year, one of our big projects was at a local school, planting trees, putting in a native plant garden, and being able to provide that as a service.
So if we wanted to increase our recreational activity on the Mississippi, would this be the council that could give some advice, or would that completely go against what you guys represent?
No, we'd be willing to have a discussion. I mean, there's actually a huge, I keep saying scout grant you can apply for these grants every year through the Clean River Advisory Council. It's the Walton Foundation. So, and I've lost my whole brain on the max of the grants are, what you allowed up to. I'm sorry. But Yes, we would be willing to have that discussion and provide you any detail, any information that we've collected so far, or absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else, guys?
Sounds
Thank
like
you.
we'll be happy to send you any information we have on how the
Yes.
information was collected, any grant opportunities, and anything else we have, we'll pass it along. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have the West End revitalization update.
Need help, Rob? There we go. Well, Mayor, City Council members, really appreciate this opportunity to share with you all some of the progress that we've had with West End revitalization in '25 and some of the intentions we have for 2026. I typically get up here and provide you this deep dive into our origins, but I will spare you that this evening, as I know you all are quite familiar with our humble beginnings. But I also want to share with our listening audience that they do have interest in that. Please visit us at mlkcenter.org /West End. You'll find all the information you need, including our assessment and our 3 and now 5-year plan. We do start with thanking you all for the initial investment for West End revitalization. That investment continues as we see incredible collaboration with our department colleagues. Parks and Rec, Public Works, economic development and community development have all played a significant role in some of the accomplishments you'll see later on in this presentation, and some of the plans we have for 2026 as well. But it also highlights our ability to connect, to facilitate, and to be the backbone for West End revitalization. So please keep that in mind as well. The first update I do want to provide you today, we've had a bit of a team restructure. We've been able to elevate Ms. Rebecca Arnold into our Community Impact and Development Manager for the King Center, and that allows her to lead our West End revitalization team. I'm sure by the end of this you'll see the same passion, the same capability for West End revitalization that we've enjoyed with our coordinators, Mr. Thurgood Brooks and Mr. Avery Pearl. And what's really significant for me is that I get to turn this presentation over to them at this point in time. So if I can invite the team to come on up and begin our presentation.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I guess I'm gonna have to just. All right. You go next part. Am I talking to that? No. So, West End Rock Island, it is a community with very strong and deep assets. This is something we all know. Residents, businesses, organizations, etc. Despite this, communities like the West End still face significant challenges. These challenges are not because of effort. There have been efforts to address these challenges in the West End. But where they fall short oftentimes is that the effort that is given rather isn't connected. Rather, picked up?
Yeah.
Okay. So these challenges or these efforts oftentimes aren't connected or aren't long-term supported. We'll get it right. So, as I was saying. Go back to it. All right. So efforts. There have been many efforts, there's consistent efforts. But over time, either efforts have not been connected, so you have one party trying, others not knowing, or there hasn't been long-term support to continue these efforts through processes. So when that happens, there are gaps created. People fall through these gaps, organizations fall through these gaps, and when there are gaps, we can easily have momentum become stalled. And when momentum stalls in communities like the West End, we can have generations of disinvestment, underdevelopment, and things that we still see today. With that being said, that gap is where Western revitalization steps into play. Our role is to help fill those gaps and ensure long-term momentum is sustained in the revitalization of the West End community. So our mission is to increase the wealth, power, and livability of West End residents. We want them to be able to stay in the West End, invest in the West End, grow in the West End, see their day-to-day lives as West End residents improved based off the work that we're doing. We don't just focus on one-off projects or events here and there. We're truly focused on long-term stability for the work that we're doing. Our work goes from the individual level all the way up to the policy level, because where we're focused at is ensuring that short-term action is supporting long-term change. We don't want things just randomly happening. Things need to be coordinated. And so for us, that means standing in that space, bringing in the right partners, ensuring that there is strategy happening. Connecting the people, the partners, and the resources, and ensuring that they are moving together over time. So our approach to doing this is the collective impact approach. What that means essentially is many partners working towards a common goal and moving together towards that goal over time. We know that we are not the sole organization responsible for the revitalization of the West End. No sole organization can do it alone. Our role is to organize the work, support the doers of the work, and ensure that the momentum does not stall. That's where we sit. We know the 5 key impact areas. They're all connected: civic capital, personal assets and income, economic vitality, housing and land, infrastructure and visual appeal. These are all connected, and so the work has to be connected too. And that's where we step in with our collective impact approach, is that we're connecting the work, supporting the people doing the work once again, and then ensuring over time momentum is sustained. So, with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Thurley.
We just sitting down here because I'm not 6 foot, what, 7? 8, excuse me. 6'8", be very clear here, okay? And so there's an old African proverb that we do our work by day to day. And that old African proverb simply states, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you got to go together. And that's where, again, I reemphasize the importance of our collaborative impact approach. And so I'm here to speak to a little bit about our 2025 overview. And so we'll give a few key highlights or milestones behind those, including the first ever in the Quad Cities participatory budgeting exercise. We call it PB, because you see that's a mouthful. I took a deep breath before I said it. We also had a financial empowerment program with the Centra we're very proud of, including housing upgrades. We had another program with Mid-American, and youth civic empowerment we do weekly with the Thurgood Marshall Learning Center students in the West End. And so as we continue, we'll talk about our PB exercise. And so it actually started off with our youth at Thurgood Marshall. They earned $10,000 from a grant we received to do PB in the Quad City area. And so the kids kicked off that process in March of last year. And simply put, what PB is, you have a body or a community come together. They create a leading group, i.e. a steering committee. And that steering committee then casts or go out to the community and seeks input as far as ideas on how we can spend X amount of dollars. And so kids, $10,000, greater community, $40,000. And so what you do is, after you get those ideas collected, you turn those ideas into what we call proposals. And those proposals then are voted upon by the body or community that is taking part of this exercise. And so with our youth, they did a school-wide process with all the students in the building. They went around, had sheets of paper and different ideas, and they voted on the winning projects, which were school store, student enrichment, and also school-wide celebrations they can do right there in the building with some of those dollars. And as for the community, we collected over 400 ideas, turned those into 8 refined proposals. And at our at the King Center Soul of the City event at Franklin Field this past year, we kicked off our vote, and that went on for roughly 2 weeks. And the winning project was Neighbors Helping Neighbors, which will be a project that will be kicking off, and it's really intended to help out our veterans, our folks with disabilities, and our elders. Landscaping, I'll call them helpers help around their homes and their properties. And so that's a little bit about our PB process. Continuing on to our financial empowerment series we are doing with Essentra. Avery and I actually just ran over here because it's going on, our second series is actually going on right now on Mondays. They're doing right now at the King Center for week 2. But last year we kicked off our pilot program, Make It Make Sense. It's an 8-week training program. On the 9th week they they graduate and they get a $500 incentive, $400 in cash or monetary value, and then they get $100 worth of $20 gift cards for businesses here in the West End of Rock Island. And they take that and we get able to replenish our community while also serving beyond just an opportunity to learn for folks, but giving people real money to go along with those experiences that they obtain in the courses such as credit and debt management, predatory lending, home ownership, generational wealth, and many, many more. Continuing on, we also worked with Mid-American to do some housing upgrades. Mid-American approached us late April, I believe, of last year, and Avery and I were able to meet with them and work toward what we didn't know at the time was a truly innovative program that was able to service 30 homeowners, 10 small businesses, and 3 multifamily complexes in the West End. That Power Up program was so unique because folks were able to get up to $10,000 upgrades if you're a homeowner, $20,000 for the small businesses and the multifamily complexes, insulation, water heaters, furnaces, windows, you name it. Mid-American covered 90% of the cost. We were able to find a grant, earn a grant from the Moline Regional Community Foundation to cover the 10% for those participants. Because as you might imagine, 10% of 10,000, most folks don't have that laying around, and that might steer clear of being able to obtain such an opportunity as this. And that's something that Mid-American, I believe, was very, very appreciative of the trust we built in the community to go out and get that done, because up to that point, they were having some troubles. And as I mentioned before, Avery and I were proud and shocked in some ways to learn that this program was truly innovative, because typically in the energy sector, I back up. We received an award, innovative award from MIA, the Mid-Western Energy Alliance conference, at the conference in January. This program, usually the energy sector, they only are able to complete homeowners in one project and businesses in another project and multifamily in another project. And the fact that we were able to wrap it all into one earned Mid-American and us an award, innovation award at that conference. It's the first time in the countries that something like that was done. So we're very, very proud that we can say Rock Island and the Western Rock Island accomplished a feat such as that. It's something that Avery and I love to do every Friday, and I do mean that, is going over to Thurgood Marshall Learning Center and working with our Western Revitalization Club there with those students. They make us proud every day because they are exactly what we know they can be. They show that every day. And so we did different actions with them as far as organizing municipal and school board forums, candidate forums last year that they hosted. They curated the questions, they asked the questions, they did timekeeping, they did it all, and did an amazing job. As I said before, they led the surveying and PB process. We also collaborate with Augustana numerous times to do different neighborhood asset mapping and planning with the kids. We're really hands-on in doing. Also have opportunity to go onto the campus there and learn from the professors and students in real time. This past November, we took the kids to Washington, D.C. for civic engagement. They were personally invited for the reopening of the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C. in November by the founder when he came to visit he visited the students. He was so impressed by them that he wrote them a personal note and made it our duty to make sure we got them there. And so we spent 5 days with them there in D.C. They visited our consulting agency, or partner, Enterprise, who we've been working with from the beginning of this plan, because they're housed in D.C. They visited the campus of Howard University and got a tour from a student that had done some work with us in the past. They also were able to visit the National Mall. It was a really unique experience, but on Tuesday, the last day we were there, they were able to recite all the names of all the soldiers and our soldiers, the Civil War soldiers, And so they also recently completed a photo voice exhibit that I believe some of you were able to see recently. The photo voice is, the students were able to go around the community in the West End, take pictures, and really describe things they see from their perspective, and also produce opportunities that they see from what others may see as deficiencies. And so we're very proud of that as well. And a lot of this has been able for us to do because of the partnerships we have with our community. And so this, we just name a few here that we have as our partners, including, as Yuri said before, the departments here in the city. They've been vital. Rock Island Community Foundation. I'm not going to name them all, but you see them here on the list, and I don't want to miss anybody, but we are very appreciative of all our partners that we have now, and we will continue to build. And from there, pass it to Rebecca.
Thank you, Thurgood and Avery. I think I don't have to pick that up. All right. Hi, everyone. Happy to be in front of you today. So I'm here to talk about some of the support we've been receiving so far, as well as our plans for this coming year, and plus a more long-term vision for the West End revitalization. You can see here there's a pretty broad range of supporters, from philanthropy, from businesses to individual investors who have shown support for our work so far, and we're only here at the beginning. The next slide gives you some more concrete numbers. So if we talk about the economic impact of the West End revitalization, just in the last 2 years, you can see 2024, just under 200,000. Last year, we're up to 450,000. Funding that we received, that the Martin Luther King Center brought into this community for the purpose of the West End revitalization. That's just the direct funding. When we talk about the indirect funding, the money that Mid-American invested in upgrading homes, businesses, multifamily properties, they didn't give us the money to give out. We found a grant for the homeowners portion, for the owner's portion, and the rest of it, they invested directly with the homeowners, with the repairs directly. So we count that as investment in the West End that did not come through us. And then we're looking at the in-kind investment as well. So Essentra staff who are at the Martin Luther King Center right now doing a financial empowerment training for community members, no one is paying them for their work. They're volunteering to come. This is a partnership. They see the value in what we do and investing in our community, and they're giving their time freely for that. And then Enterprise, I have to mention them because they have been with us since the very beginning when we did an assessment 6 years ago in the West End. We paid them as consultants with funding from the city and from the John Deere Foundation for a few years, but in the last 2 years, they received funding from a separate funder to continue working with us. So that's, again, money that didn't come through us, but it's technical assistance and strengthening our capacity as an organization for the benefit of the West End. Okay, so Thurgood talked a little bit about what we did last year when we look ahead to 2026, where we are right now. So our initial 3-year plan, we're going to extend that to 5 years. We don't feel the need to go back and start over when we feel like we're on the right track. One of the things that we've learned is that instead of being a step-by-step process to follow, our 3-year plan, we'll call it a 5-year plan now, is more of a North Star, of a guideline to follow. And we know we're on the right track. We'll make a few modifications because mostly we've been able to respond to partnerships and collaborations that have become available with partners who are aligned and who are willing to invest resources. So for example, the Mid-American, the work that we did with them, that was not specifically part of the plan, but they came forward wanting to work together. Our values aligned, they were willing to invest, and so we went forward with that. So a few of others have come up in the process, so we'll modify the plan a little bit, but for the most part, we know we're on the right track. When we talk about revitalizing a neighborhood, this is not done in 3 years or 5 years or even 10. We expect to see real progress in 10 years, but this is a long-term vision, and we're just going one step at a time, really. So continue to align and strengthen relationships with the City of Rock Island. We're really proud and pleased with the work that we've done so far and continue to do, and the cooperation and the partnership with other departments. We're all part of the city, and when we work together, that's a really good use of everybody's resources, right? But of course, there's room for growth. There's always room for more of that. Partnerships with public and private entities, repair, rehabilitate, build houses in the West End. We can all see, right? Housing is a major issue. West End, throughout Rock Island, throughout the Quad Cities, we hear about housing quite a bit. So this is a big part of what we're looking at. We're not experts in housing, but you know what we're good at? We're good at bringing people to the table, leveraging resources, looking for creative solutions, and braiding together different funding sources. Some of the funding sources are more restrictive than others, and so we, as a nonprofit, as well as a department of the city, have the opportunity to apply for funding that's a little bit more flexible than some of the government grants that come through the city. Setting up a community development corporation and a community land trust. These are all in our plan. We're giving them a high importance in 2026. We think these are key things that are going to move some of the other agenda items forward. So we're moving forward with those in a steady pace. Okay. Continue the pilots with the Centra. They're doing it right now. Mid-American has another pot of money. It may or may not. We're not exactly sure how much yet, if it's similar to previously or if it's a little bit smaller. We don't know. But we're going to continue to work with Mid-American. Community voices represented in conversations that represent the West End. We think that's something else that we managed to do pretty well, right? To listen carefully to our community, to have an ongoing dialogue with our community, not just talking to them, but talking with them and listening, just as important as what we have to say, and bringing those voices forward and keeping them front and center of everything that we do. Work with the city to invest North 11th Street TIF funds for the benefit of the TIF district. We're in conversations with the Community and Economic Development Department, we know that TIF is there. We know that a lot of what's in our plan is aligned with TIF objectives, and we wanted to mobilize some of those funds for the investment of that TIF district. And then neighbors helping neighbors, which Thurgood mentioned earlier. Yeah. So that's 2026. It's already quite a bit, but beyond that, again, because this is a long-term vision. So front and center, we want to mobilize sustainable funding to support our operations. We are in year 3 of a 3-year transformation grant from the Quad Cities Community Foundation. And that has allowed us to move forward and really establish a strong foundation from which to grow. It's a 3-year grant, however. So in this year in particular, we are looking for sustainable funding for our operations so that we can continue to focus on the work and not just the fundraising piece of it, so we can keep our team in place. Honestly, if we had 3 more coordinators, they would be busy immediately. I mean, we've got plenty to do, but finding those sustainable funds to keep the team operational and moving along, that's a priority for us this year and beyond. Mobilize and leverage resources to facilitate development. Okay, when we say resources, right? Money, yes, of course. Also, partnerships, coalition, supportive policies, community members with the huge asset, right? So to mobilize them as an asset for the West End. We're talking about homes. When we're talking about development, right? We're talking about homes and housing. We're talking about land use. We're talking about economic development, the business community. We see huge opportunities, right? And so this is a pretty broad statement, but there are more details in our plan. Opportunities for employment and job training. This is a big, assets and income is one of our 5 key impact areas. And in addition to stabilizing neighborhoods, improving the visual appeal, like making sure the housing stock is safe and supportive and healthy for people, we want to make sure that they have opportunities to grow their own personal assets, which includes income and includes wealth, including generational wealth that you pass from one generation to the next. And finally, at the center of everything that we do, we say this all the time. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it. Let me say that one more time. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it, right? So our work absolutely centers the community. And the community is not just a geography, but it's the humans and the people and the families and the children and the grannies and the grandfathers who live in the community. They're at the center of everything that we do. We're not here to develop for the sake of development. We're here because we believe in the people who live in the West End, and we believe they deserve better. So it's not just what we do, it's how we do it. We've walked away from other organizations who have offered and wanted to partner with us because we just didn't feel like our values were aligned. So, yes, we want to revitalize the West End. We want to do it in a way that protects the folks that are there, provides opportunities for the folks that are there, and respects their dignity and their quality of life. That's all we have prepared. Happy to take any questions you might have.
If I may, Alderperson Swanson and I had the opportunity last week to sit down with part of the staff of the West End Revitalization. Very informative. But I had one question, and what is it that we can do to help you move forward?
Thank you. Appreciate the question, Alderman Poulos. Thank you. We several ideas, right? Number one is be a champion for the West End, right? Be able to tell our stories, and if you don't feel comfortable today being able to share the story of West End, we'll be happy to talk you through it or drive you around and show you and introduce you to some folks that live there. The more people who are able to champion the West End revitalization, what we're doing, at different levels, right? Whether we're at the church, whether at the city council, at different levels, like that's going to be helpful for the West End. Another thing that we would suggest is that when you hear about inquiries or people who are looking to invest in the West End or do something in the West End, right? Just ask them, as people who are in a position of power, have you talked to the West End revitalization folks? And just because we feel like we've got a pretty good, we have a good relationship with our community that's based on trust, right? And we earn that trust, and we take that very seriously. It's one of our best assets, really. But to make sure that people who are looking to do work in the West End are talking to us so that we can collaborate and work together. This is part of the collective impact. We know that people are working in the West End. It's not always coordinated. It's not always aligned. So the more we can do to align the efforts, leverage the resources, make sure we're not duplicating efforts, but actually complementing and reinforcing each other, the better off we're going to be. I have a couple other ideas. We know you're doing your strategic planning process, right? It's kind of in the early stages, but when we talk about not just what you do, but how you do it, and this value of being person-centered, and your people are your biggest asset, right? So keep that front and center as you think about your strategic planning. We're looking to have more formalized partnerships, with both the city, departments, other organizations. Right now, we say we move at the speed of trust, right? But we also see an opportunity to have more formal relationships with different organizations and different partners. And finally, we want to have open communication with council, with people who are in a position of power to make decisions about the West End. When we talk about investing in the West End, like I said earlier, it's money, but it's also your attention and your enthusiasm and your endorsement and your making introductions and making connections so that we can carry the work forward. So we appreciate the open communication. We'd like that to continue. We will continue to reach out to members of council, and we'll welcome your communication with us as well, because we see each other as partners for sure.
Well, I appreciate the presentation today. One of the comments that you made when we were sitting there at the table was that we're not West Enders, we're Rock Islanders. And I think that we together need to bring that, keep that same idea. So thank you very much.
I just have a few words. Due to the fact that this organization is also in my ward, it's been a breath of fresh air to just watch you guys grow the last 3 years. But I also understand the need to have you guys at the table. I know that funding falls short sometimes, and I think that I would love to see the city do a little bit more at making sure that we don't find those gaps any longer. We've got residents in the first ward that can talk about projects that have supposedly was coming many a times that fell short. And it's my job as the first ward alderman to try to make sure that we bridge those gaps to make sure that we actually succeed this time. I can't deal with the past, but moving forward, I think the partnership with you and the West End revitalization would make the difference. And so I thank you.
Real quick, I did appreciate the meeting that I had with you folks, probably about a month ago, I suppose. I can't remember exactly, but someone brought this to my attention, and I'd like to kind of bring this up while we're talking. Maybe we could get the West End group to help with the MetroNet situation down there to get some services. Have you had any discussions with them, or?
Not yet. We'd be happy to participate in those conversations.
We actually have a meeting tomorrow with MetroNet and Avery's going to be there.
Okay, I was just trying to make sure that maybe they can help get that addressed for
Thank
us.
you. Yep, good idea.
Rebecca, thank you very much, and the whole team. Thank you all very much for the presentation, the good work that you did last year and for the past 3 years, and excited for the future for this project. The biggest takeaway that I received from your presentation is the goal for sustainability. I think that's our number one challenge, and that's what needs to get done. I don't have much insight because, like Alderperson Evans said, I do not represent this part of town. However, I am aware that we have similar placemaking projects going on both in the first ward and the fifth ward. In my ward, it's been the Rock Island Downtown Alliance. Different communities, different parts of town, but a similar overarching placemaking project where there's plenty of long-standing existing constituents and stakeholders that are frustrated, a variety of challenges within these communities, and the city and our partners stepping up and trying to change that. I'll just speak to my experience working with the Rock Island Downtown Alliance, because that's what I can speak to, and this very important piece of sustainability. I remember when, prior to the Rock Island Downtown Alliance existing, when we simply had a contract with the Chamber of Commerce to explore the creation of a placemaking organization in downtown Rock Island and a sustainable funding mechanism, namely the special service area for our downtown. It was always a very delicate threading of the needle between doing placemaking work and building support for the sustainability, for continued placemaking, right? And I think a lot of people, because there is so much pressure from stakeholders, from the public, they want to see something. They're tired, they're frustrated, they've gone through so many different planning exercises with the city, they've lost all hope, they don't believe in the city. These are the same conversations that you are hearing that I heard plenty in 2020 since 2017, since I've represented downtown Rock Island. And so there is an initial reaction to, we got to do something, right? They got to see something, which is an understandable reaction to have. However, if all of the focus is, we got to do something, you miss the long-term aspect of the project of, okay, we got to do something, but we also need to be making sure that we're setting this up for generational success, because as you say, this is a generational project. This is not going to be done in 3 years from now. So you've got some good initial demonstrations of success. You're showing what a placemaking, if I can be so, if I can call your organization a placemaking organization, you're showing the public what you can do. Now it's your job to convert that into sustainable support. We can do this, but we need investment from the community. We need buy-in from the community. And again, I know it is very hard to get the same people who are frustrated and tired to double down on investing in our community. But if you can do that, then the future of the West End will be very bright. So we went through this in downtown. If there's anything that I can lend to this project to make it successful, I don't represent the West End, but we're all one community here in Rock Island. If I can do anything to help, let me know. Thank you.
Can you provide us with some storytelling? Because I know, like you said, we should be champions for the West End. And as a recent graduate of a nonprofit training, they talked a lot about storytelling. So are there some examples that you all can provide to us so that we have those stories to tell?
You're talking about right now, or should we meet some?
No,
Okay.
later.
Okay. Yes, we've got lots of stories, and we know we can do a better job. There's always more stories, but yes, happy to do that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So has the West End revitalization project, have you guys brainstormed or compared notes or framework with Augustana's newly developed CDC or the downtown Business Association, Business Alliance?
Yeah, the Augustana CDC, not quite, but we have a good relationship, including with Jerry Lack, and so we'll sit down at some point with them. But with the downtown, absolutely. We've met with Jack. We had a great meeting with DeAndre. Our Neighbors Helping Neighbors, we actually envision this as a sort of a way to duplicate the ambassadors of downtown in the West End. So we take a lot of inspiration from what's happening downtown, and Jack is great to collaborate with, so absolutely, you bet.
The reason I asked, I wouldn't want any funding opportunity, any grant opportunity to miss the West End due to the fact that, we may not be at the table or we just wouldn't be in the know for that particular area of money. That's why I asked that. And also, ma'am, so you were saying about the storytelling, different things that we can do, and you mentioned that it's levels, different levels to it. Yeah, I'm all about storytelling, but I would rather you use me to get funding, to bring resources to the area. I don't want to tell the story. I want to, at this position, I want to do more than talk a story. So, just keep that in mind, when you feed me whatever you're going to feed me. Keep that in mind.
Thank you.
And also, we were talking about sustainability. And one thing that I do want to bring up indirectly as far as sustainability, I'm speaking to Thurgood and Avery on this one. Ma'am, you said that if you guys had 3 more coordinators, you could put them to work right now. It's work out there. So informally, I would ask Thurgood and Avery as pillars of the community of the the West End, if we were to have some trainers, some trainees, some apprentice, some young people that's following you guys and learning from you guys, that to me is another form of sustainability, because how we took the torch, taking the torch from Terry Brooks, your dad, from Miss Shelley Moore Guy, sustainability is bringing on the next generation. So if we can get some young people that we can teach how to handle business for the community, how to love the community, how to collab, how to, like I said, be professional for the good of community, that would be, in an indirect way, that would be legacy for us. That would be sustainability. So, keep that in mind as well. If there's anything that I can do to assist in that, please let me know. But, you know, other than that, I don't have any more questions, but I do want to reiterate what the council has said about, you know, exactly what we need to do to help you. When it comes to the West End, a lot of people up here are not professionals. Like you said, you guys are professionals, you know, in that regard. So we need to know exactly how to help you. It's one thing to say we want to, but it's another thing in knowing how to. And you guys have been very articulate with that today. So I want to keep that line of communication open and build from that as well. And that's all I have. Anything else? Thank you, ma'am.
Tree maintenance policy presentation.
Good evening, everyone. So, as Mike said, we'll just kind of give a brief overview here of kind of our city tree policies. Next slide, please. We'll just dive right in. Next slide. Is there a clicker? Next slide, Rob. Oh, Rob. I would like the delayed noted as on Rob August. All right. So most importantly, what trees are the city of Rock Island responsible for? Essentially, any tree that's on public property. So that would be obviously your public right-of-ways, which would be boulevard trees, city facilities, parks, random lots we own throughout the city. Those would all be our responsibility. Private property trees are the responsibility of the homeowner. The only time we get involved in that matter is if there's a clear public safety hazard. So aside from that, responsibility of the homeowner or property owner. Reporting tree issues. Residents, the most frequent, as Mike said, the most frequent way people are reporting tree issues these days are through See-Click-Fix. Occasionally we'll get phone calls from time to time. Oftentimes people will report a tree that they think is hazardous, or it might be overgrown or obstructing the view, that sort of thing. And then of course after, you know, trees do periodically fall down, especially after storm events, we'll get, you know, more requests in that regard. And occasionally, you know, they get big and the roots start pushing up the sidewalks. You know, we'll get calls on those from time to time. All requests are then logged and reviewed by Public Works. So they go in, they're logged into See-Click-Fix, and then we send personnel out to go evaluate the situation. All right, so once we receive a request, if someone says, hey, my tree needs trimming, trained personnel will go out and inspect the tree on site. Then we start prioritizing. Obviously, if there's a public safety hazard there, we'll address that right away. For non-hazardous issues, we schedule those based on our service level agreements. And as just a point of note, we do have a certified arborist on staff, and we have a second employee who's currently working on his certification. So hopefully in the next year here, we'll have 2 arborists on staff. Next slide. So we do not remove your tree just because you do not like having a tree in front of your house and you don't want your leaves raked, or don't want to rake leaves, although that you'd be surprised surprised at how many people call and make that exact request. We only remove them if they're dead, dying, there's some sort of hazard there, or occasionally you'll have a tree that is just like so overgrown and it's damaging public infrastructure like sidewalks. It's just the best course of action is to just remove it. Occasionally you'll get situations where like every time we have a windstorm, this tree's losing a branch and we're constantly there, so it's just cheaper to cut it down and safer. Non-hazardous removals, we schedule those. Generally try and get those completed within 90 days. Obviously, if there's a hazard, we'll do it sooner as opposed to later. Occasionally, which is what you'll see with our tree contract, for large or tree, our staff is actually very good at removing trees, but every now and again you're in those situations where there's a tree that, it may not be prudent for us to tackle it ourselves, so we will contract those out, and our personnel can only, they have other responsibilities, so we can only keep up with so many trees. So we do solicit contractor assistance to, stay on top of things. Next slide. Tree trimming. We try to break the city into quadrants and just kind of work our way, through the city. We do that on a cosmetic basis, and then, on a request basis. Generally speaking, trees, we try to get them trimmed within 30 days. And again, there's also seasonal variations here. So, potholes slow down obviously in the wintertime, so we shift gears and like, all right, now's a good time to work on trees. So a lot of it is pretty dynamic. Oak trees, you do have certain species. Oaks, they're susceptible to oak wilt, so you have to trim those after the first frost, otherwise there's like a fungus that can get in there. So, someone has an oak tree, we try not to touch them unless there's immediate hazard until after we've had the first frost. Next. The post-removal process. Now, this is a question that I'm sure some of you may have fielded before, but occasionally residents will say, hey, the city removed my tree, but the stump's still sitting there. We don't have a stump grinder, so what we do is, and frankly, it's more cost effective just to contract them out. So what we do is we try and get a cluster of them and then bid it all out at once to get the most favorable pricing. So sometimes, we might cut a tree down, but you won't see that stump ground until the following season. And then just another added note, we do have door hangers that, most of the time I always get perplexed when people say, well, I didn't know my tree was going to get trimmed, and it's like, well, you were the one that requested it. So, but we do in situations where we are doing trimming or something that isn't a hazard and it's more proactive. We put door hangers on people's doors that have little boxes that say, hey, we're going to be trimming trees on your block, and we set out temporary no parking signs. So if your constituents call and say, oh, what are these no parking signs out here for? Often it's just they didn't see the door hanger, they didn't look at it close enough. Generally speaking, it's temporary for tree trimming. We plant approximately 20 to 30 new trees annually in the public right-of-way and parks. Actually, the West End team, they actually helped get us some funding to do, I think we did 70 last year, which was nice. And then we have the 50-50 tree program that's also available where a resident can say, hey, I want a tree, and then the city pays for half and we pay for half. Kind of hesitant to say this out loud, but generally speaking, we don't get a whole lot of participation in the 50-50 tree program. So usually what we do, we plan on planting 30 trees. If someone says, hey, I'd like to take advantage of the 50-50 tree program, we will just plant one of our annual trees for them. But again, I said that out loud now, so 1,000 people will probably call tomorrow. Another important caveat, not every location, just because there used to be a tree there, does not mean it's necessarily a good idea to put a tree back. Okay, so back in the day, they used to plant trees everywhere, and you got like this tree that's like this thick when they plant it, and then you have like a 4-foot gap between the sidewalk and the back of the curb, and now that tree's ramp for bikes, digging in people's utilities, there could be utilities underneath, there could be power lines. So occasionally we do have to break people's hearts and say, yeah, we cut down this tree, but unfortunately we can't put one back for you. That does happen from time to time. But generally speaking, as we sweep through areas, I'll use Alderman Parker's ward for an example. The Greenbush area, they had a ton of ash trees. They all got wiped out by the emerald ash borer. We cut down probably like 300 trees in that area, and you know, we've been trying to pepper them back in. So, all right, trees on private property. Keep it real quick. The mayor actually we do like a couple of these a year. All right, they're very few and far between. The mayor actually brought one to our attention. This tree was like down in Shore Acres. It was being held together with some chains. We had our arborist go out and look at it. It's just everything about it was crazy. It goes through Miles's team, the normal nuisance abatement process where, hey, you get a letter, you got a public hazard here, we got to do something about it, and then if the property owner fails to act, most of the time they do, they're like, yeah, I've really been needing to get rid of that anyways, but if the property owner fails to act, Public Works will take it down, and then if, you know, it's not paid, you know, Leslie does her thing. So that's how that works. Again, they just go through the normal nuisance violation process. Next. And I will say too, oftentimes, you know, it's like, why am I reporting this tree? Well, it's just because I don't like my neighbor. So we try to keep those few and far between. I just want to add that bullet point there. So anywho, we're responsible for any tree that's on public property. Private trees, owner responsibility unless there's a clear public safety hazard there. If the tree has an immediate hazard, we will address it right away. If not, removals, generally 90 days, 30 days on trims. Oak trees after the first frost, stump grinding the following season. And just encourage everyone to encourage your constituents, report things through See-Click-Fix. Makes our lives so much easier. Say, hey, I got this huge branch, it's about to fall. You can snap a photo of it, and we can say, well, we're not even going to go look at it. We're just going to send the bucket truck right there and cut it down. So that is incredibly helpful. I think we're on to questions. Yes.
A couple questions, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Tree is on both properties. On private properties, two different owners. One person doesn't want it, the other person does. What do we do?
Are you saying if somebody wants to cut down?
They want, yeah, the owner on the south side wants to cut down because it's leaning over their sidewalk and, you know, just a pain in his neck.
Sure. Generally, that decision would be made for us because it's our policy that we don't cut down a tree unless it's dying or some sort of hazard.
Can the homeowner go out there and cut what's on his property?
I would default to Leslie on that, but my understanding is, yes, you can trim a tree overhanging your property so long as it does not jeopardize the health of the tree. Is that largely?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head because
Okay.
that's private property. I can look at that though for you.
I get those questions on a regular basis, as well as the trees in the park that people don't like. They don't like this tree, but they're wondering why this tree was cut down when this tree was more dangerous, and it can be a hot mess.
It is a hot mess, and there is some legal guidance on that. Last time I checked, I was always under the understanding you could trim what was over your property so long as it will not kill the tree. But I would default to this on that.
I'm just trying to save you a few phone calls.
They're gonna come regardless.
And trying to save more for me, so, thank you.
What training do we have to teach our residents how to take care of a tree, how to prevent trees from dying?
Well, if it's a tree that we plant, they come with we have in the contract, they have to be guaranteed for so many years. I want to say it's 2 years, and if they die, they'll replace them. But the way we do the tree planting is we try to plant them where people actually want them, right? And so when we do that, our supervisor will have a conversation with them, and generally at that time, kind of provide them some guidance on stuff that we don't really expect the resident to do anything. I mean, we keep an eye on them and monitor them, but when they're little, don't run your lawnmower right next to it, scrape it, hit it with the weed eater, that sort of thing. But that's about the extent of it, and we have information on our website as well.
So if someone just moved into a house and there are trees outside and they just want to know what they need to do to better care for the tree, what would we suggest to them? Like water it or how do you take care of a tree? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
There's a lot of, like if a resident called, I would just direct them to our arborist because it's highly variable based on the species of the tree, how old it is, how big it is. So if a resident, had a question about, hey, I just bought this house, I got this tree, we would direct them to our arborist, and then he would go out and could provide them any kind of feedback.
Okay.
Generally speaking, also, people can look stuff up online.
Okay.
But a lot of times people don't know what species of tree they have, so we would direct them to our arborist, and that'd be a great place to start.
So would our 50/50 program, could that also apply to what the Clean River Advisory Council was just briefing us on about what we need to do here in the city of planting trees along the Mississippi River?
I was a little confused by that. I would have, because first off, the Army Corps of Engineers would not allow you to do that because we have a levee. So so they must have a certain area in mind. So I would have to follow up more with them if they had some like target areas that they were trying to infill trees on.
Okay.
So I guess I would need to know more.
Okay, all right. Okay, so back on the 50/50 program one more time. If you brought up the situation about the resident with a bad tree, and it was kind of intruding on public safety. So if the resident doesn't have the funding to take the tree down, would it make sense for our 50/50 program to go on that back end as well?
I would say no, because your cost would be substantially high, orders of magnitude high.
On the city's behalf, it would be substantial.
Like if we were, you're saying that someone can't afford to take a tree down in their yard, and then we would split the cost with them to remove it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, pragmatically, it'd be very expensive, and then I would say, then where do you draw that line between the public space and the private space, right? Like, so is your roof bad? Would the city get into the business of paying for half of someone's roof? So it's like, and frankly, we have a hard enough time keeping up with our own trees, so that I think that would really stretch the city's resources if we entered into a space like that. And it's a great question, because I've wrapped my head around this a lot because we have our sewer lateral program, the insurance programs, and I've thought, like, could you do an insurance program for trees? And I've thought about it a lot. I just don't know how you could make it work, because there's so many of them.
Sure.
So,
Understood.
but I'm open to ideas, but I think it'd be challenging.
Anything else, guys?
Thank you for doing that. I know I asked you guys to do that, so I really
Oh,
appreciate
you're
that. Along the lines of trees and leaves, do we have leaf pickup dates set for
We
spring?
do, and I don't have that. Do you know the exact date, Mike?
Okay, thank you.
Luke, thank you very much for the presentation. I look forward to my new tree in my boulevard this spring.
Alderman Parker, one of our recipients of the 50/50 tree program, that we actually had extra trees, so.
I don't have any trees in my new home, so I'm looking forward to getting one on the boulevard. It's been my recollection and experience serving up here that the vast majority of issues that we have fielded regarding trees is more private trees, right?
Yeah.
Neighbors complaining that their neighbor's tree is dying and hanging over their garage, things to that nature. I do not have a question for Public Works, so you're off the hook. This is more community development and probably Leslie as well. If I recall correctly, it was always a question of whether we regulate trees on private property, similar to how we regulate siding on somebody's house, right? You gotta have siding on your house because of building codes. Do our building codes, do our codes regulate trees on private property?
The housing is on. It's not?
I mean, the light's on, but I don't hear you.
How about now? Oh, there we go. Okay. Huh. The Housing and Property Maintenance Code addresses nuisance vegetation. Under that code language, we do cite trees when they are stone cold dead. So an inspector can look at a tree and be like, it ain't got a single leaf on it, that thing is going to fall down at some point, then we will cite it. Assessing, though, like its health beyond that and trying to make determinations somewhere in the middle, we avoid doing. So often it's the classic scenario, there's a tree right on the property line, one of the neighbors doesn't like that it's there. They point up and say, look, there's parts of it with no leaves on it, or there's a couple of dead branches hanging in it. We don't cite those, and we say that's a dispute between the residents on how they best want to maintain the tree. But if it is stone cold dead, we do cite it. And the process is as presented.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay. Still want to read it? Okay. Okay. All right. Agenda item 7.
A proclamation declaring Thursday, April 2nd, 2026 as Junior Achievement Day.
Proclamation. Whereas the City of Rock Island will observe Junior Achievement Day on the first Thursday in April as an opportunity to recognize and celebrate junior achievement of the Heartland for empowering our young people to own their economic success. Whereas Junior Achievement of the Heartland's educational contribution equips our young people to become the next generation of productive employees and self-sufficient citizens to ensure the economic prosperity of Rock Island. Whereas it is fitting for parents, educators, businesses, and members of the community to join Junior Achievement's effort to ensure the future success and economic health of our young people and the communities in which they live. Now, therefore, I, Ashley Harris, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby proclaim official recognition of April 2nd, 2026, and every first Thursday of April hereafter as Junior Achievement Day in the City of Rock Island, dated this 23rd day of March, 2026. Thank you. Agenda item 8, public comment. First name, Heather Poston or Boston? I'm sorry, man. Good evening.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Corlan passed due to complications of asthma on November 6, 2025. This April 1st would have been his 11th birthday. This is an invite-only event for his family, his friends, the staff from his school, also the football team and the basketball team that he played on. We're gonna just do a celebration of life, let some balloons go, and have hot dogs for the kids. We will be responsible for cleanup, and we're just asking that the city close that street off in front of the cemetery so we can celebrate and, as I said, bring awareness to asthma. Any questions? No, you
So
don't.
we don't do back and forth
Oh,
during
okay.
public comment, but if there's a question when we get to that agenda item, they might call you back up.
Okay, thank you.
Next name, Shay Dean.
ICE has been reported to use the property of 211 19th Street in Rock Island as a holding facility. As a citizen of Rock Island, I'm requesting this to be investigated and stopped. Not only is this facility reportedly designated as a courthouse and therefore not legally allowed to hold persons, but we are also far outside the range of ICE border control enforcement and jurisdiction, meaning ICE has no legal power and any action it takes in Rock Island is extrajudicial, meaning any ICE personnel are acting outside of the law. Outside of utter disrespect for law and order, economically, having the presence of ICE in our downtown will only drive people away from spending their time and money here. This will damage businesses and possibly even the reputation of Rock Island. We have a strong immigrant population, and many of them will not want to spend or work in Rock Island. Morally, it is outrageous to have armed thugs arresting people left and right without any due process. ICE has already shown themselves to racially profile and disregard citizen status. Finally, from a humanitarian perspective, ICE consistently disregards human rights. These are just a few reasons that ICE should be chased off and abolished, so I stand before you to ask that you investigate and stop illegal ICE activity at 211 19th Street. Push ICE out of Rock Island entirely, and that you keep our neighborhoods safe from thugs acting outside the law. If you do not heed my warning, as those most directly responsible for Rock Island, the safety and lives of our immigrant population, as well as the blood of the next Alex Preddy, will be on your hands. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Agenda item 9, update Rock Island. Update Rock Island, coffee with a cop. Tomorrow morning is your chance to engage in conversation and coffee with some of Rock Island's finest. Come out to Coffee with a Cop at Awake Coffee Company, 1430 4th Avenue, Rock Island, Tuesday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Get a head start on spring gardening. The 2026 Seed Library is officially open at all 3 Rock Island Library locations. The primary catalog with the largest amount of seeds is in the downtown branch, 401 19th Street. Smaller catalog collections available at our Southwest and Watts Midtown branches. The giveaway is limited to 5 free seed packs per household to start. Free tax assistance. With help from volunteers from United Way of the Quad Cities, the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center is offering free tax services until April 4th on the following days: Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m., and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until noon. The services are walk-in only and are on a first-come, first-served basis with limited spots available. For more information or questions about the program, call their office directly at 563-355-4310. And I would also like to take a moment to give a special shout out to the birthday boy in the back, Mr. Jerry Jones. His birthday was yesterday. He is the director of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. So everyone, please wish Mr. Jones a happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. That's for you, sir. Thank you for everything you do. And now I would like to ask the council to move agenda item 17 so we can discuss that next.
So moved. Motion to move item 17.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
Is the motion to, are we voting on amending the agenda so that we vote on this item, or are we voting on the item itself?
No, we're voting to move the item so we can discuss it next.
Okay.
They're here and their item is last on the agenda, and I don't want to eat up all their night.
So I'm trying to figure out what motion is actually probably the proper motion. I think we need a motion to suspend the rules to allow us to discuss item 17 out of order. So that would just require a 2/3 majority for the vote to go ahead and consider that item now. So if you want to redo your motion, I don't remember, I think it was Alderman Evans to motion to suspend the rules and take into consideration item number 17 at this time.
What Leslie just said.
Perfect. And then Alderman Barnes is your second?
Yes.
Okay, so now we just need a 2/3 vote. Sorry, 2/3 vote on that.
So is there any discussion?
For future reference, we should have done this on item number 5, though, correct? When we voted to approve the agenda? So,
Correct.
yep, all right.
Okay, understood. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Poulos. Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 17.
A, report from the clerk's office regarding a request from Shekinah Wright to close 12th Street between 29th and 31st Avenues for a celebration of life event.
For the sake of discussion, I'll second.
Okay. I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
I guess since this is in Ward 3, I'll start the discussion. I am Linda Barnes, Alderwoman for Ward 3. The area that you want to have closed, the area that you're requesting to be closed. So first of all, my condolences on your loss. As a parent who has also lost a son, I do understand, the grief and the pain you're going through. So my decisions or discussions has nothing to, it's not a personal, anything personal about what you're requesting. But as an older person for that area, I have to consider the impact, on the residents of that area. And I first heard about this when you actually submitted the application, so I had not heard about you all wanting to do this. So I haven't had an opportunity to talk to you. So based on what I'm seeing, I do have concerns as far as if this is approved, then setting a precedence where other residents may want to do the same, especially since it's in that cemetery area. So I do worry about the impact that it would have on other, on the residents if other people decide to do the same thing. So that's my main concern.
I just believe that they would have to take the necessary steps as we did and come here and speak and say what it is, because as I stated, this is an invite only.
And just to add, there was a petition that was circulated, and on the petition, there was only one resident out of the 3 that denied it that actually chose not to. Everyone else on that block chose to sign that petition in favor of this event once they found out what the event was. And that was turned in on Friday, so it should be in the documents.
I have a copy of it right here. And, you know, I will say that you know, this is an event that, you know, I would like to see happen. I know that it is a heartbreaking occasion for the family who have been, you know, Rock Island residents for a long time, long time. So my heart goes out to you for that. And with it just being a 2-hour event, I would like to see us allow that to happen. You know, they stated before that they have, you know, this is a big event for them. You know, they have members of the high school athletic team coming to do a portion of the memorial. It's asthma awareness, and it's only for 2 hours. And I would say that originally there were a couple residents that weren't in agreement with this, but that has changed now, and they have signed off on allowing this to happen. So, you know, I want to reiterate, it's just for 2 hours. I've heard, you know, other concerns about, you know, the residents may not live in that part of town, but, you know, we see that all the time when it comes down to block parties. You know, people close off areas that they don't live in, and with the cemetery being there, I mean, that is, you know, the location that they would want this to take place. So, you know, I would ask the council to just take into consideration that it's only 2 hours, the occasion, all the time and energy that they have invested in this, and you know, just look at all that with your decision. And that's all I have.
So just to follow up, you are asking for an additional hour prior to for setup. So you're asking for 2 o'clock, right?
Yes, because we were gonna have hot dogs for the children,
Okay.
and that was just to get the grill out there and make sure that they stay hot.
Then it looks like maybe that street would be closed for probably over 3 hours, because if it ends at 5, then it would probably be an additional half an hour or so to clean up and get the street reopened.
We would be done by 5. The cleanup, yes. We have garbage cans that we can set out there. We're just doing hot dogs and hamburgers, some juices, and these kids are anywhere from, I would say, 9 to 11 years old. They know how to throw their things away, so we should be cleared by 5.
So again, as the Ward 3 representative, again, I'm kind of looking at the future impact, and I'm only 1 vote. So my vote is probably going to be not to close, but, you know, just need a majority of votes for it to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
I withdraw my second.
I'm confused. When I look at this, I see there's 3 objections on here.
Hold on, Dylan withdrew his second, so I think I need a new second if we want to continue.
So can I have
Just
a
for
second?
continued discussion. Do you want to second it just for discussion purposes?
I second. Just so I can ask why you said it was changed, yet I see on here there's 3 separate, you know, disapprovals of this. And you said they redacted those, or?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's 3 against them? Okay, I'm just looking at, that's not 3 of the disapprovals on here. So that's why I was just questioning it. So that's okay.
2 of the disapprovals signed that petition.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I have a copy of that right here, Bill, as well.
Would you like this copy back?
Is there any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Parker.
No.
Poulos.
No.
Healy.
No.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
No.
Barnes.
No.
And Swanson.
Yes. Motion fails.
Okay, you guys want to do this on April, the beginning of
First, it's a
April, April
Wednesday.
1st. I'll get with you guys offline, and we'll see if there's something that we can do to accommodate, what you guys want to do. It may not be in that exact area, but we'll, I'll work with your audit person as well, and, this is something that we would still like to see you guys have a celebration.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, man.
I got 6 boys. I have no felony. I get up every day as a single mother. I work in healthcare for 17 years. I've never been late. I've never been late. Do you know how I feel to go to work and my baby lost his life and I still go to work? I might take care of your mom, I might take care of your daddy, I might take care of your auntie, I might take care of your brother, and I still go every day knowing that my baby was sent home. And they told my baby he was gonna be okay. My baby got sent home at 4:30 in the evening. My baby woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning for me to give him his medicine. He could not breathe. He stopped breathing, dropped his breath. I moved on me a new house so he could be as close as he could be to the ambulance. I drove from my house to the ambulance. It's 5 minutes away. It took the ambulance 11 minutes to get to my house. Ain't no way in hell my baby should not be living right now. And all I'm asking is for y'all to block that street off, and you can't do it. I'll pay my taxes every year on time. And I'm not even a criminal. You pull me up right now, I ain't been to jail. Never. And I can't get this. You know how I feel? And I'm not even asking for nothing but 3 hours of y'all to block off a street. And I'm asking for this because I don't want nobody else to get hurt. That's what I'm asking for.
Okay, let me speak, please.
I'm mad. Yes, I'm mad.
Okay, that's enough. It's enough. I'm your grandmother. Let's sit down, please.
And I see you all the time to come and send your ambulance people to come and get people from my nursing home. Yes, I do. And I'm not mad at you, but I'm mad at everybody.
This is still fresh. She's breathing, so.
You don't have to apologize for her.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
apologizing.
yeah.
Not apologizing.
No apologies needed.
We tried.
There has been 4 children in
Ma'am, talking to the mic, please.
2 children last year, and my grandchild died of accident, and my mother when I was 15 years old. All I'm asking is to be this one time only, so that I can bring awareness to how bad asthma is. And for a mother to not just, when the doctor says it's time for your child to go home,
have you reached out to the cemetery, ma'am? Have you reached out to the cemetery to see if you can have it on their property? I'm sorry. Have you reached out to the cemetery to see if you can, and what did they say?
Sounds,
The problem is the grass. The why they chose to have it in the street is because of the pollen and stuff in the grass. So that's why they chose to use the street in front of his gravesite.
I think, like the mayor suggested, we can talk about this later. I don't think that right now we are going to sort out all of the details. I think all of us up here are sympathetic to your situation, but now is not the appropriate time to sort out all of these details. I would encourage us to have more conversations tomorrow.
Ma'am, I'll get with you offline, ma'am. We'll think of something, ma'am. And I do want to thank you and your family for your time. I know how hard and difficult it is to physically come here, spend half your night here, and then be disappointed by a decision. I'm heartbroken for you in a lot of different regards right now. So I'll get with you tomorrow, and once again, I appreciate you coming to plead your case. Agenda item 10.
A report from the Economic Development Department regarding a resolution in support of an application for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunities Regional Site Readiness Programs Planning Grant. Motion to adopt the resolution.
For the sake of discussion, second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Was this what we talked about at the last council meeting?
Yes, this would be for the Sunset South site.
And speaking to the older people who expressed concerns about this, have there been conversations since then about this? Frankly, I'm in the hot seat. I vote first, and I'm wanting to know how my colleagues are feeling about this.
I have not had any discussions about this.
I have not either.
So I think this is only giving the approval to apply for the grant. And then, once we find out if we don't get it, it's a non-event. If we do get it, then at that point we can have a conversation on how much we get and how much the city would pay, and if the city would pay that, or if we would go to property owners to pay that. If that's my understanding is correct.
That's the way I take it. Am I correct?
I thought we answered the questions that were asked at the last meeting.
I don't think that's the case.
So I would defer to the Economic Development Department, but in the memorandum that Tara submitted, you'll see that the maximum requirement from the city would be $30,000 total. So that's kind of the monetary figure that you would be looking at. I think that was one of the questions that the city had.
It'll be paid from TIF funds.
It's my understanding that the concerns from the council were, should we be responsible for this match? So by voting on this resolution, are we committing ourselves to paying this match? And if not, what future action will be brought before the city council that will make that decision? If we vote on the resolution tonight, are we voting and we get approved? Does it come back to the city council for expenditure? Or by voting on this resolution, are we committing funds if we are approved?
We would have to do a budget adjustment before you
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me for us to apply for this grant if we are not committed to the local match.
No, that's it. No, I wouldn't approve it if you're not committed to making a match. Again, the argument for why the city would pay for the match, we invest a lot of money in economic development to get a return on investments in the property. Here you're gonna leverage $30,000 to get $150,000 worth of work done. It's gonna make this site much easier to market for an industrial user. You know, the site has the potential of millions of dollars versus property taxes, has the potential for hundreds of jobs to come to the city, and that's why we would invest $30,000 to try to make that happen.
Well, I personally, I'm not in favor of committing $30,000 of that money to benefit the two landowners that we're talking about to develop on. I'm just giving you my take on it. I don't know why there's a lot of things we could do $30,000 if it's TIF money or what have you. I mean, I would defer to the rest of the council on their opinion on this, but I feel like we're committing, that'd be $30,000 on a what if down the road, and that $30,000 is benefiting the two property owners. I don't know.
I think I would be more comfortable if staff had conversations with the older people who have expressed concerns about this, about what would make us more comfortable with approving this. I understand that there is a public benefit. That's why we have economic development staff, right? We spend public funds to further economic development because there is a public good. But if there are concerns from the city council, perhaps we should have a conversation about that before we vote on this to figure out what could make council members who have concerns more comfortable with allocating these public resources to this end. So I will make a motion to table until the next city council meeting.
Second.
What time frame are you guys on with this?
They did be.
Wait. We've got a motion to table in a second. You can't debate a motion to table.
No. Do we have a second for the motion to table? Randy did? Okay. So yeah, we would immediately move to a vote on that.
Any discussion on that?
There's no discussion on a motion to table. So motion to table has to be, because it's the next council meeting, the table is the appropriate motion, so we would go ahead and proceed on the vote for that.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis. Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson.
Agenda item B.
An ordinance amendment establishing permit extension procedures, second reading. Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis. Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item C.
An ordinance amendment establishing a fixed annual rental registration date, second reading.
Move to pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Due to me being regulated by this, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item D.
An ordinance providing for a change in zoning at the Sunset South site from C2 to I1, second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item E.
An Illinois State Revolving Loan Program ordinance for the Mill Street Anaerobic Digester Rehabilitation Project, second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item F.
An ordinance amending Chapter 8, Article 2, Division 3 of the Code of Ordinances regulating fire alarm systems and false alarms, second reading. Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 11.
A, report from the Community Development Department regarding an ordinance providing for a change in zoning from C2 to B4 for property with the following PIN 16202000004, first reading.
Motion to approve the change in zoning from C2 to B4 highway business and consider the ordinance.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 12.
Consent agenda items A through D.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through D.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 13.
Claims A through H.
Motion to allow claims A through H.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mike, regarding the payment for engineering services to CDM Smith for the water treatment plant domes project, where are we at on that? I know the Highland Park neighbors had provided some input. I know I've inquired about, is part of CDM's project what to do with the existing domes afterwards? I've inquired about potential commercial development there on 18th Avenue. Where's this project at?
So your question was, is CDM Smith's contract, does it include options for the tank? Did I understand you correctly?
Well, I guess first off, where are we at with the project?
So we're at the 30% design phase. We're pushing to proceed beyond the 30%. It's a $1.5 million contract. We're looking to come back before the neighborhood organization that we had meetings with previously to present a final, I shouldn't say final, but more polished drawing, I'll say. We've had good discussions with them. They seem to be generally in agreement with our proposals before. But yes, that portion of having those conversations with the neighborhood group is in CDM's contractor scope.
Okay, and my second question is what to do with where the domes are currently part of the scope of their project?
It is, and if my recollection is correct, the initial meetings that we had was to push the domes further to the east from where they were originally being proposed, which was more in the northwest corner of that area. And so that's the way we're proceeding currently.
And so that would free up the property along 18th Avenue there where the domes currently are. I mean, it would be empty, right?
Yeah, essentially half of that property, if you're looking at it from the avenue, 18th Avenue north to the 16th Avenue, the northern half would be occupied with our structures. The southern half would be essentially available.
Right, and we've got potential commercial development where the domes are. We've got parks, interest in that site. Is figuring out that of what to do with the site post domes gone part of CDM's contract?
No.
Okay.
No, it'll be regraded and shaped for any future development. Once we'll remove the structures that are there currently, and then once that's removed, we'll grade and restore it to a grassy area, and then any discussions would be outside of their contract for future development or uses.
So would that qualify as being site ready or not? When would they get done? You said they're going to regrade and do all these things. Would that be considered site readiness for another project?
It'd be fairly close. I mean, the first thing you'd have to address would be the zoning.
Say major-ish. My guess would be they'd probably need, sewer, things like that, electric, all go to it. But, the ground would be, but the infrastructure probably not.
Well, I guess the reason that I inquired about CDM is because, again, we've got sort of three competing interests for that general area, right? We've got Public Works' needs for the plant. We've got Parks' needs because it's an existing Parks location. And then, of course, there's the ever-present need for commercial development in our city. And so, depending on what we do for the Public Works portion of this project, that impacts Parks, that impacts potentially commercial development. And so, before we even think about whether we have utilities in place and site readiness, do we want commercial development there, or do we want parks? Or, you know, I mean, that's the decision that we need to make before we make the decision about site readiness. And that's why I was asking if this was part of our contract with CDM. If not, at some point, I want to have those conversations, obviously.
Yeah, like I said, that's not part of their contract.
Any more discussion? Is everyone familiar where we are? Okay.
I couldn't hear you.
Thank you. So the work that's been done on the dome, the payment on this, that's already been completed? All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Does everyone know where we are? Okay. No more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye?
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes. And
Aye.
Swanson.
Agenda item I.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to Miller Trucking and Excavating, Silvis, Illinois, for an emergency water main repair at 4411 Blackhawk Road in the amount of $17,396.35.
Motion to allow the claim.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson.
Agenda item J.
Report from the Public Works Department requesting authorization to purchase equipment and vehicles according to the Rock Island Arsenal Agreement in the amount of $1,604,502.90.
Move to approve.
Purchase.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Motion to approve purchase.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. When will the funds be received from the Arsenal? I know coming up there's also a loan agreement. But do we know, will it be like on a quarterly basis or?
It is scheduled to be quarterly payments back to us, the city.
So it's not based on, like, we're spending 1.6 million, then for that quarter we'll receive that 1.6 million, or is it kind of split out?
It's spread out amongst, and I can follow up with further details, but it's not all up front. And the loan is over, I believe it's a 5-year or 6-year loan we're requesting.
It's a 5-year loan.
Yeah. So, but the amortization back is built into the contract over the life of the contract.
Hey, do you guys remember when Luke was presenting on this and he acted like it was absurd that we bid it at $5 a gallon gas? Woohoo.
Yeah, we anticipate paying it off early. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it should take the entire 5 years.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson.
Agenda item 14.
A, report from the Economic Development Department regarding a lease agreement between the City of Rock Island and Quad City Wood Turners.
Move to approve the lease and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk?
Yes,
please.
just for,
Excuse me.
you know, public knowledge, why is it that they can lease the building for $1 per month instead of the market rate amount?
they've been in the building for a number of years, actually since the city first acquired it. They did put significant effort and resources into the remodel of the building, so, but they've been in there for a number of years. Our goal is to actually transition away from this and either get market rate rents or sell the property, but this will allow a little bit of a time for a transition. Miles, is there anything you wanted to add?
How long will this be up? How long is the upcoming lease agreement for the house? 1 year?
Year.
Okay, all right.
Correct. So we can terminate it at any time within 90 days if we were to find a buyer or purchaser of the building.
Understood, understood. Is there any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item B.
Report from the Economic Development Department regarding a lease between the City of Rock Island and Scott Dockstetter.
Motion to approve the lease and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement, subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item C.
Report from the Finance Department regarding an intergovernmental agreement between the Illinois Office of the Comptroller and the City of Rock Island for participation in the local debt recovery program.
Motion to approve the IGA and authorize the city manager to execute the document, subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, this has been a long time coming, so glad to see it.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item D.
Report from the Finance Department regarding a proposal to finance up to $1.5 million from American Bank and Trust, Rock Island, Illinois, to purchase new vehicles and equipment.
Motion to approve the proposal and authorize the city manager to sign the loan documents subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans. Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item E.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the 2026 municipal tree contract, recommending the bid be awarded to Advantage Tree Services and Harbor Masters Company, Davenport, Iowa, in the amount of $37,642. Motion to award the bid is recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the contract, subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Trees Are Us from Rock Island.
I'm not going to ask how far their bid was off, but okay. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item F.
Report from the Parks and Recreation Department regarding bids for mowing services and recommending the bid be awarded to Kimball in the amount of $81,175.
Motion to award the bid is recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the contract, subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item G.
Report from the Fire Department regarding a bid from Bi-State Masonry Incorporated for the Central House Masonry Restoration in the amount of $39,107.
Motion to accept the bid is recommended and authorize city manager to execute agreement subject to minor attorney modifications.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Chief, the memo was unclear. Perhaps I just didn't read it well. Did we get more than one bid, or did we just solicit the bid from the one contractor?
We had 2 bids. The other one was significantly higher.
And did we run, I mean, we have the responsible bidder ordinance. Did we apply the requirements of the responsible bidder ordinance when considering these bids? Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item H.
Report from the Police Department regarding a new 5-year agreement with Axon Enterprise Incorporated for the Axon body camera system and services.
Motion to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the document subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. So questions on this contract. So it's, trying to think. So it's like an early renewal. Is there an extension in the contract to go an additional number of years?
Typically, the contract with Axon is 5 years, but we were locked into a 5-year price lock last time. That 5 years now is up. In order to get us going into another 5 years, they wanted to start it a year early and keep the same year of cost as in the last year. And then the remaining 4 years is just going to be redistributed.
So just remind me, is there a competitive bidding for, I know this is normally, everybody has this all over the United States, so is there no competitive bidding for the body cams?
There isn't in this case because realistically there's only one other company that can provide the body cameras at the level that we're using them now. In addition to body cameras, tasers are also provided through Axon, which no other company has that. Those are just part of the agreement as well. On top of that, we have about tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours of evidence that is on evidence.com video, and which we share with the state's attorney's office. It just simply wouldn't be feasible to go to another company at this point until somebody else comes up with something a little bit more competitive. And I would say that if we did make a change to another company, it probably would be just as expensive.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item I.
Report from the Legal Department regarding acceptance of the donation from Eagle's Nest of the QC for the property located at 217 15th Street, Rock Island, Illinois.
Motion to accept the donation and authorize the city attorney to prepare all documents and title documents.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Before I vote to approve accepting this property, I've had conversations with the city manager about exploring a site assessment and reuse study for the property. I mean, this is talking about spending $30,000 worth of public funds for potential economic development. We're talking about taking on a liability and having taxpayers fund it. Do we still intend to reach out to Landmarks Illinois and inquire about a condition assessment and reuse evaluation? Again, they work with people that provide those pro bono, very affordable. Are we planning on doing that first if we acquire this property?
We will do that, and we also undertake some kind of process to offer it
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Clueless.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 15.
Budget adjustments A through D.
Motion to approve budget adjustments A through D.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Clueless.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 16.
A report from the Community Development Department regarding the 2025 CDBG Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. Motion to accept the report and direct staff to submit to HUD.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Miles, congratulations and thank you to your team for another successful year of managing our CDBG program. Have conversations furthered about our efforts to publicize the good work that we've done.
Yes, I believe that is a conversation that's ongoing, and we'll continue to find ways to get the good word out. For folks who don't have a context for this, we don't really receive a large CDBG allocation. It's only about $1 million, which in the scope of the full city budget isn't too much, but we stretch those really far and cover a lot of different subjects with it. So definitely a story that we should be telling more and talking about all that's accomplished.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Parker.
Aye.
Clueless.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Yes.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Swanson. Aye.
Agenda item 18. Does anyone have any business to discuss? Old or new? Nothing? Okay, well, agenda item 19.
Closed session, 5 ILCS 120-C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. And 5 ILCS 120-2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives.
Move to enter into closed session for the exceptions cited.
Second.
All in favor say aye.